All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to build onto our object class here. And let me just kind of remove that so we can look at one thing here. So we're going to start out by creating another method inside of our object class. So you have something with your name object, okay? And that is we're going to create a years to drive method, okay? So that'll be public void years to drive. All right. And inside of there, we're going to create a variable. So we're going to create a variable called driving age. And driving age equals 16 still. So then we're going to print out I have, and we're going to concatenate like we've been talking about here. And we don't really need these parentheses, but I'm just going to use them because it might be easier for you to understand what we're doing here. And then we're going to go driving age minus age plus quote space years to drive. Okay? So what is this going to do? Well, this is going to create a variable in here called driving age. Right here, it's going to do driving age minus age. Okay, so some of you are like 14 years old maybe. Driving age is 16. Age is 14. Driving age 16 minus 14 is 2. So it's going to have this as a value 2. Okay, so I'm just showing you that you can do some math inside of your program. Like, and a lot of times that's what like programming languages are for, is a lot of math. So, so this is going to say I have, if age was 14, this is going to say I have 2 years to drive. Okay? Then it's going to say 0 years, right? If your age is 16, then it'll say 16 minus 16 is 0. Okay? So, over here in WAS program, then we're going to test that out. Okay? So we're going to say make a new WAS object and do years to drive. So I'm just going to save that and run it. And when I run it, it says my name is Waz. This is all the about me stuff, right? About me, I have a Captain America mask. I have negative 23 years to drive. Okay? So, for me, right, I've been driving for 23 years. Maybe a little bit more, but don't tell my mom. Okay? All right. So let's kind of define some things here. All right? Things that we want to define are the types of variables that we're using. So if you look at the website, I've added 2 new pages here. Scope of variables is one of them, and that's what we're talking about right here. We basically want to be able to name how variables are used inside of our program. Okay? So one of those names that we're going to use to describe variables is an instance variable. Instance variables are defined inside of a class, okay, but not inside of a method. So those are these variables up here. Name is an instance variable, age, activity, and prized possession. Those are all named inside of the class, okay, and before we even write any methods. Okay, so those variables can be used anywhere where they're declared, anywhere inside of this whole class. So you see that I'm using age here, and age here. Okay, so we call those instance variables. Sometimes we call those things fields. Okay, class variables we're going to kind of ignore for right now. All right, it's a different thing that we haven't talked about yet. What we just did today is we created what's called a local variable. Okay, driving age is what we call a local variable. Okay, and I just want to kind of give you an idea of what it is that I'm talking about here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this system.out.println line and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it up here. Okay, so this about me method now has an error in line 16 because of what I just added. Okay. Driving age, if I mouse over that, says driving age cannot be resolved to a variable. All right, and that's because driving age is declared down here. Its scope, okay, or its viability, you can think about it that way, right? where it can be used ends right there. All right? And so just so that there's like no confusion, okay, I want you to understand that it doesn't matter if I take this about me method and I put it down here. Driving age can only be used once it's declared and up until the ending bracket that defines the beginning bracket where it was declared. Okay? So it's a local variable. We call it that because it's only used local to years to drive. It can only be used inside of there. Okay? So I can't use it down here in about me. Alright, I'm just going to put that back up there. Oops. There it is. And now I'm going to get rid of this line because I don't really want it there anyway. Right? So I can't use it there. Again, so that you're not confused here, okay? If I create a variable like int difference and I make it equal to driving age minus age, okay, just like I have down here, I can't do that either because driving age has not been declared as a variable yet, okay? So I can only use a variable, a local variable, after it's been declared and inside of the brackets that it's created inside of, okay? So I can't use driving age until it's been declared as a variable, okay? The last type of variable, and we're going to be using these today and some more, is a parameter variable, okay? G is a parameter variable. Any variable that you declare inside of the parentheses of a method is called a parameter, all right? And it acts just like a local variable. So I can use G inside of here, but for example, I can't use G if I copy that and paste it over here. I can't use G up there in about me because G cannot be resolved, okay? G, what that means is, and I can't use it down here, G only exists as a variable inside of this method, okay? Because it's a parameter. So, like I said, what we're doing here is just talking about definitions. We're talking about how we can describe variables. So we have instance variables, local variables, and parameter variables. And you guys should just understand that when I create a variable inside of a method, it's called a local variable. When I create a method or declare a method inside of parentheses, it's called a parameter variable. And when I create a variable inside of a class, but not inside of a method, we call those things instance variables. Class variables, we'll worry about those sometime later. Okay? Your assignment then, for that part, is to make the changes that we just talked about in your name object. So in other words, you're going to make a years to drive method. We also want you to make a years to vote method, and then we want you to write lines of code in your name program that will test the new methods from 1 and 2 above. Okay?